Hi guys, welcome to another Barb Stamps video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do this really cool technique called triple time stamping. And this happens to be my technique for my Totally Techniques online club for the month of September. If you want to be a part of my Totally Techniques online club and get some cards and technique information in the mail, all you have to do is order $30 or more in my online store at shoppingwithbarb.com. Between the 1st and 22nd of each month, send me an email letting me know you want to join the club. Place your order, and then I will mail you the technique cards and the instruction card in the mail the following month. So when you join the club and you place orders for 6 consecutive months, at the end of that 6th month, I will gift you with a $30 gift certificate, in addition to all the amazing techniques that you've learned. Now, I also will email you the link to this video so you can keep them all in a file so that you can find them anytime you need to. I keep all my techniques in this handy little wood stamp case that we sell, the large stamp case. And I've run the club. This will be my 4th month. And so we've got these 3 amazing techniques so far that we've learned. And I know that the gals have been enjoying it. So go ahead and send me an email, barb@barbstamps.com. Let me know you want to join. All right, let's get on with the triple time stamping. We're going to be using the Snowflake Wishes stamp set. All right. So the first thing we need to do is cut some cardstock. Here is my paper trimmer. To get our white layers, you will need a half a sheet of Whisper White cardstock or Very Vanilla, depending on the color scheme of your project. And the first piece that we need to cut is a 4 by 5 1/4. Let's see. So we are going to go with the 4 right down the middle here. And then we're going to switch over to the 5 1/4 because my piece was a half a sheet, which was 8.5 by 5.5. So there's one layer. Then our next layer is going to be 3 by 4 1/4. So we've got that 3 and then 4 1/4. You can see how we're just going to make this perfect use of this half sheet of cardstock. Then we're going to go ahead and do a piece that is 2 by 4 1/4. All right, or 2 by 3 1/4, excuse me. All right, easy enough. So that's out of a half a sheet of white cardstock. So we have a 4 by 5 1/4. 3 by 4 1/4, 2 by 3 1/4. Then we have our colored pieces. I chose Misty Moonlight because I'm going to use Misty Moonlight and Balmy Blue for my stamping. So I have an 8.5 by 5.5 inch piece of this Misty Moonlight. And then I also have a 3 1/4 by 4.5. And then I have a 2 1/4 by 3.5 piece. So these are all going to kind of layer together when we're done with the technique part of this. And then I just have a little stitched circle, the second smallest that I cropped out of Whisper White. So the first thing we need to do is we need to attach these layers together just slightly. So I'm going to use just a tiny bit of our seal adhesive. Whoops, got to get that thing started there. So just the tiniest little bits, okay? Because I want to be able to remove these after I've done my stamping and put the other layers in between. So you're going to line these up so they're centered in each piece as best as you can. And then we'll get our last piece in there. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in a scratch paper here. And I'm going to lay that just to protect my work surface. You wouldn't need this for any other reason. Then I'm going to get my stamps and my ink. So I've got some snowflakes to stamp in Misty Moonlight, and I've got some snowflakes to stamp in the Balmy Blue. So I'm going to go ahead and open up that Balmy Blue, and I'm going to put my Balmy Blue stamps on this side so I don't get confused, because trust me, I can get confused. I'm going to put my Misty Moonlight over here, and then I'm going to put my Misty Moonlight stamps over here too. Now I do have an extra stamp just in case I need it to do a filler or something like that. So I'm going to start with one of the larger images first and get that nice and inky. And I'm going to stamp it in the corner, kind of. And you do want to put some pretty good pressure on these stamps because you're trying to stamp on 3 different layers. And so it can be a little bit difficult. So you definitely want to put some nice pressure down. There we go. And we're going to ink that same stamp up again. And we're going to kind of come over here in the corner, but not exactly in the corner. And now you can do this any way you want. You can use any stamps you want. I don't recommend using a whole bunch of colors. There we go. Just because a whole bunch of colors can get a little bit too much, a little bit too busy. All right, so now we're going to ink up our large Misty Moonlight image, and I'm going to kind of do corners and kind of not. So it's sort of in the corner, but not exactly. Okay, and again, make sure you give it a good press. Oh, whoops, that was my spare stamp. Not that it's going to make any difference, because the more snowflakes we have, the better. All right, so now let me bring in this fun little guy here. And you don't want to really overlap, so you kind of want to make sure that you're not going to be overlapping any of the other previously stamped images. Okay, get that one. And then we have some of these smaller images that we're going to go ahead and add. Whoops, I think I'm going to do this one first. This is just a small one that I'm going to stamp in Balmy Blue right there. And I think I might do another one. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this one. And like I said, you kind of rotate them around because you don't want to really overlap if you can help it. There we go. And you make sure whenever you stamp some of the images, you want to make sure that you can get to more than one layer. Okay, so what do we got here? We've got this image. Did I use that one yet? Nope, it doesn't look like I did. So I'm going to go ahead and ink this one up in the Balmy Blue. I'm going to kind of do some rotating here. So I'm going to put this one in the corner. So I want to catch both of these layers, the largest one and the second largest one. Okay, and we're going to bring that same image over here. Again, trying to get more than one layer. There we go. And then we're going to sneak this little dark guy in here just to kind of break up the Balmy Blue that we have going on. There we go. Excuse me. So I need to finish over here. So I'm going to use, let's see, what was this one in? This was in Misty Moonlight. So we'll go ahead and ink that up and try to get that right here. And it's always trial and error. You know, you're never going to get the same look twice. And we'll get that last one there. And then I do have a little bit of some blank space up there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and use this small image in the Misty Moonlight and maybe this little tiny guy just right here in the Balmy Blue. Whoops, we need one more. Just coming in off the corner. Okay, so we are done with our stamping with this piece. I also have my little circle, and I've got my sentiment here that says, "Thanks Snow Much." Super cute. And I'm going to stamp that in the center of this circle. And thankfully it's a photopolymer stamp so I can see through it. There we go. And we are done with our stamping. Let me clean this up. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to gently peel these images apart. And if you didn't use too much adhesive, it should come apart pretty easily. If you can't get them apart nice and easy, just take your heat tool or a blow dryer and kind of warm up that adhesive a little bit, and it should release just fine. Like I said, I did try to put just a tiny bit amount. We may need to use our heat tool. Let's just see. There we go. That was very simple. All right, so now we're going to layer these pieces together. So obviously these two, and I like to use liquid glue for this part because I like some wiggle room so I can get these lined up in the center. And I find that if I use other adhesives, then, you know, once you stick it down, sometimes you're stuck at that spot, but I need it to be, I need it to line up pretty nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and use some liquid glue. Get this other piece here. And again, centering that. Okay. Then I'm going to bring in some of our Misty Moonlight 1/4 inch ribbon, and I'm just going to wrap that around my middle layer. So I'm just going to chop off what I need there. And let's see, which way do I want this card to go? Is that how I want it to be? Or do I want this to be the bottom? Whoops, that's not in the right position. So definitely before you glue these layers together, you want to make sure your positioning is spot on. I think I'm going to flip this around and have this be the bottom. So I'm going to wrap my ribbon around this part here. And I'm going to do the cheater way. I'm going to use some Scotch tape to wrap my ribbon because that's, to me, just easier. And I don't have to mess around with trying to get my adhesive in the right spot. And It just is easier for me. There we go. All right, so now I can add this layer to our bottom layer of stamping. Again, make sure you line it up, that you have the proper snowflakes lined up in the proper spot. And then you're just kind of centering this again, and you can kind of see how that layer of cardstock kind of breaks up the stamped images, and I just think it looks really cool. And we do this piece here, and you could use Stampin' Dimensionals if you wanted to stack up the layers. I chose not to for this card, just because I didn't want it to be too thick. And so you're just kind of lining up, you know, with your stamping. There we go. Fold our card base in half. There we go. And then we'll add this to our card base. Again, centering it as best we can. Okay. And then I've got my little label here. Add some adhesive to the back of that. And I'm going to kind of offset this between these first two layers. I don't want to cover up my ribbon there because I like the accent of it. And then my final thing for this card is going to be to add some rhinestones. So we're just going to grab a medium one here, and maybe a large one there, another medium one, maybe right there. I tried using some of our other embellishments on this card, but they all just kind of, it was too much. The card is very busy as it is. It's beautiful and amazing, but it's a little bit busy. So you want to keep your decorations kind of to a minimum because you want the stamping to sell the card. All right, so there's the card that my girls are going to get. And then here is their instruction piece. So they have the directions on one side of this particular technique card, and then a sample of what it would look like on the back. So they'll be getting this in the mail from me for last month. And I do have a few others that I wanted to show you. I think I showed you this at the beginning of the video. This one I did no embellishing on whatsoever. And I just think it's a very striking, very simple card. I tried 3 different colors on these two. So you can see I've got the Balmy Blue, the Coastal Cabana, and the Highland Heather. And look how different they look just because I chose to use Highland Heather cardstock on this one and Coastal Cabana on this one. The images are basically the same. They're stamped in the same colors, but adding those 2 different colors of cardstocks really makes it a bit different. I didn't add any rhinestones or anything, but I did add just a simple bow using some of our Coastal Cabana ribbon. Got those. Please give the video a thumbs up if you're enjoying this technique, and please subscribe to my channel down here in the corner and click that notification bell so you can be notified when I upload new videos. And then here are some other ones that I've worked on. I've got a few more to make to get ready to get them all out of here. And then here, of course, are the technique cards. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.